Hello there, welcome to the Wall of Weird podcast. It's been a while, it's been a long time. We are discussing tonight an episode of Smallville from the 8th season of the show called Bride. And you may notice we have a runaway bride tonight in one Christopher Durbin, who was supposed to be joining us, but at the last minute realised his schedule was it weren't going to work. So he ran from us and left us to it. But yeah, we're here and we are going to talk about Bride. So it will be nice to hear anybody's thoughts or read anybody's thoughts in the comment section on this particular episode. Watch along with us. I mean, we're not watching the episode right now, but just watch with us, talk with us about each scene as we go through it. And yeah, hello Mercenary X84 and Aaron White in the comments. Nice to have you with us. But you know the score. We're going to go through scene by scene. Hopefully not waffle on too much. Hopefully there won't be too much Lana drama now that Durbin isn't here. Should be a bit easier to keep that in check, I think. Okay, so
it's a tough episode though, Ryan.
It's It is. Well, actually, it's not. I watched it this time around, and I've got much less Lana drama in this episode than I initially anticipated. I've actually got more Clark drama, to be perfectly honest. But that also makes me have a little bit of annoyance towards the writers. But we'll get into that when we get into it. So. Okay, so we kick off the episode with some found footage. It's basically it's Chloe and Jimmy's wedding day, and the cameraman, the wedding camera operator, has conveniently somehow only filmed the moments that are most vital to telling a story about what happened on this day. Quite frankly, if I'd hired this guy to do a wedding video, I would be pissed, to say the least, because he gets one little bit of the vows, one little bit of the dance, and then boom, Doomsday, and he gets all of that. He gets all of Doomsday kicking up stuff, but he misses half of the wedding day, so this guy's a clown. But yeah,
it was an edited version of his video.
The one that Lex has done at the end. Yeah, to me, the way it comes across is like they found the camera, they sent the footage to Lex, and he's just sat there watching it.
He's got a better version though.
I can't imagine Lex would ask someone to just edit together the good bits for me, please. I want to see a wedding video. Lex is the kind of person who's like, I want to see all. I want it on a loop so I can watch it and see anything that I need to know that Lex needs to be apprised of.
What's interesting about it is that there are some shots that he has that if you were a videographer, you'd be focusing on the bride or something, not on.
Yeah. And then when Doomsday crashes the party, he stays on Chloe and Jimmy with the amount of remarkable kind of calm that I don't imagine any wedding videographer would. Like I've remained less calm. I've filmed multiple weddings. Okay, I've done it for a living, and I've been less calm in much less dire circumstances. There's no way I'm keeping the camera on Jimmy and Chloe in that moment, and yet all the other moments he's missed everything. This is literally the worst wedding videographer ever. Okay, so that's all my problems with the episode done. There you go. Right. So we start off with some messages. Okay, we got video messages from Clark, from Lois. Girls, I'll let you. I'm sure you got much to say about those.
Well, Lois is always a problem when it comes to those messages.
It's quite amusing them. Watch them stumble over the words and clearly going through some romantic thing with each other.
Lois is innuendo with the cufflinks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Lois has kind of not so great version of romance in her head at this episode. Even when she's doing the video message and she's kind of bitter about her own romantic life, I think. A little jealous.
Yeah.
And that comes off. And then she kind of says things without thinking about it first.
Yeah, about sleeping with the enemy.
Yeah, that's why, Clark is always much more controlled with his words. So he has more of a standard boilerplate.
Yeah. I think Lois has a serious case of foot in mouth disease, for sure. But yeah,
Clark's there to stop her.
The sexual innuendo that she comes out with was quite amusing. So basically we see all this really nicely edited footage of Jimmy and Chloe walking down the aisle, being pronounced husband and wife, cutting the cake, Doomsday crashes the party.
Oh, can I make a comment about the cake, because it always bothers me?
Go on.
That is the fakest looking cake I've seen in my life.
Well,
it's clearly a prop. It's clearly a prop.
It wasn't made by Martha, because Martha made Lexi's cake for one of his weddings.
But it looks like styrofoam. It looks like fabric. It doesn't look real at all.
Martha was thinking, look, after that last bloody travesty of a wedding that I spent hours making that flipping cake for, you're getting a plastic thing for this one, because you just know something bad's going to happen. And funnily enough, she was right. It does. Doomsday crashes the party. So, okay. We get past the opening credits, and we have Lois doing her wedding planner stuff, running about the place like I wouldn't say a headless chicken, but a very well kind of organised, frustrated chicken that's just like telling everybody what to do. The kind of woman you want to say soft to, like when you're in the middle of doing the things she's telling you to do anyway. But she refers to herself as Mother Goose, which I find quite amusing. And then she says, we meet the videographer, which I'm quite surprised by. We actually get to see the videographer, and he looks almost as feeble and pathetic as you would expect from the footage that we get from him.
Great videographer, though, because he stayed during the disaster.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's the kind of guy you want in a disaster. Someone who keeps his cool, keeps the camera focused on the bride and groom at the worst moment of their life. So I can't. I only watched this yesterday, and it's already. The more and more I'm asked to keep in, the more I lose. But I've got. I obviously wrote it down because it amused me. That was it. It was when the videographer goes, "Ring that bell," and she just goes, "No." It just totally blows him out. I just thought, you ass. Okay, it was a funny moment for me. But so Jimmy tells Lois that Clark is into her. So this is a really nice moment. I like this moment because clearly Lois has been going through life completely oblivious that their little tete-a-tete that they have on a daily basis is actually what most normal people recognise as flirting between two people who kind of fancy each other but don't have the guts to say it. And Jimmy is the one who just lays that on the plate and says, "Come on, dude, you clearly fancy each other. He clearly fancies you." It's like, and then like as he's like rolling all this out, we get the usual Smallville kind of up close on the face with someone behind in the in the shallow focus, and we just see her reaction, and she's clearly very pleased by this news. Thoughts on that?
She is. He says like a grade schooler, right? You know, it's so true, though. I mean, biggest Chloe shipper since season 6.
Yeah, she does pause and linger over his suit, though, doesn't she?
Although
she strokes
has an
it.
ulterior motive to his Chloe shipping. I think his ulterior motive is
he's trying to
somebody.
yeah.
But he doesn't have to worry about. Chloe.
That thought did cross my mind. I've got to admit, it's like even on his wedding day, Jimmy's feeling a certain level of insecurity about Clark Kent, and like, I've got to make sure he's completely out of the picture. Lois is the one. So
He likes you, please.
Yeah.
Get one on him, will ya?
no, that's not hatred. That's love. He's flirting with you. Obviously, everyone knows that.
He's my
Yeah.
best good CK.
Yeah. Okay. So
You have a slide for these beginning scenes.
I do. I'm a bit like. Have you numbered them in order?
Yeah, number 1.
Right. Well, I'm going to flip number 1 up. With the see that picture would have got far more of a reaction out of me like 4 years ago, before a certain legal case tainted my. It's just like, oh man, come on. It's just. I want redemption for Alison Mack. I know that seems completely out of the question at this point for many people, but
Yeah, it seems like she's not even on the road yet. So
no, unfortunately
Let's not
not.
mention him anymore.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. So, where is it? Jimmy goes to see Chloe getting ready and gets totally freaked out by the fact
you
that
forgot about the. Hold on, Brian. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go on.
But after Lois has her moment with Jimmy, she knows she has to give the suit to Clark, and she's looking at it like, dreamily.
Yeah, we did mention that. It was kind of like a my precious kind of moment. Yeah, but then
We see him in that suit.
It does nothing for me. So you're on your own there, girls. More to the point, I'm on my own. So okay, Jimmy sees Chloe getting ready, gets totally freaked out by it because he's clearly very superstitious, and
Well,
obviously.
it's cute, isn't it? Because
Well, yeah, it did.
I mean, he lives in Smallville, Brian.
Yeah. If you're not suspicious, that alone should be suspicious, quite frankly.
Yes, that means you're very naive. If you're not.
So, like, Chloe settles his nerves. She kind of, just like gets him settled and says, "Look, after all the crap we've been through, seriously, it's gonna take D-Day." It's going to take D-Day to knock this train off the rails, you know. Oh, it's funny you should mention that, Chloe, because
Don't worry, Clark said that he's going to make sure that she has the most perfect day.
Yeah.
Never
Doesn't
promise that, Clark. Never.
Yeah, it doesn't stop her. So she gets a call from Davis, which she then has to like kind of fob off to Lois as fob off to Jimmy. Oh, it's just wedding planning, this, that, and the other, and then she's like, T-3 hours to D-Day. You have no idea how true that is, Chloe. No idea. Okay, so.
Well, an important note too in this episode: Chloe does not know Clark's secret because he brain wiped it from her.
We're going to get to that. Please leave that there because that's one of my bugbears. It's one of my issues in this episode. Because the thing is, like, this is one of the reasons I find it quite interesting doing these episodes out of order, like dipping in and dipping out, because you forget the timeline of things. You forget, like, so when I was watching this for the sake of this review episode tonight, I completely forgot that she'd had a memory wiped, and then it gets dropped in here. So we'll get to it when I get to it. Okay. There we go. Mercenary X84. A monkey is operating the camera. Yes, a very calm, chilled monkey when the poo hits the fan. It's got to be said. Aaron White. Oh, it just so happens this is the only footage that survived. I mean, like, what's the chances though? The fates be praised. They had the good sense to edit the footage and wiping what wasn't necessary.
I think it was just a fast forward between the different.
Yeah. That's why we had the little in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. Would
give
you
us the
want
sense that there's like broken
video of
yeah.
somebody's wedding.
No, why? Yeah, but why would? If you're going to edit footage, why would you put a in between each of the? It's like this is like the worst wedding video ever.
It's the fast forward button. That's Lex fast forwarding.
Oh man! Talking about fast forward, it's like more jump cut.
That's like VHS fast forward though. That's like really old.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna throw this one up because I feel like it's probably going to be relevant to the next bunch of stuff. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so we do have this whole plot line in the episode of Oliver going after Lex, which will lead us into some Lana drama. Or it would be Lana drama if Chris was here, but he's not. So, okay, so we've got. Oliver tells Clark that he needs help tracking Lex. There's something to... Basically, they say some stuff that goes over my head because it's technology jargon. Basically, they need to track down some server router thing. Yeah, some router.
It's all fake, but whatever.
Yeah, it's all fake. Doesn't exist in the real world, but always does in shows like this. We go along with it because, I mean,
whatever. Routers exist, but the way that they
not these kind of right.
So they can't be hacked,
Yeah. So basically, Oliver needs Clark for his speed to chase this router down and grab it. Because if they get the router, then they can trace Lex. Apparently. So Clark's kind of like. I can't do it. We've got to wait 24 hours. I'll do it, but not now. Your timing is crap, basically, Oliver. This is Chloe's wedding. She's a friend to all of us. So keep your vendetta with Lex on hold for a bit. All right. Chill your beans. And then we...
this is when we comment about that, though, because he actually goes and does it. So why did he... I'm a little confused about why he thought there was a time issue since he's got the super speed. So quickly go out and get it. I was a little confused always about that line.
Yes, because this is where
we're going to act on it when he got it straight
away. No. It's nothing to do with that. It's because this is the exact moment when we find out that Clark wiped Chloe's memory. Because it's Oliver who drops a line, and then it's just so that force.
No, she doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
She'll understand. Oliver says she'll understand. And Clark says no,
she had a memory. I think it's a pretty big ask anyway for someone on her wedding day. Supposed to be giving her away to go. Oh, just go do something for us, will you? Okay, it might only take a couple of seconds, but.
Yeah, but his like Oliver's point is like that you've.
Chloe will understand.
Yeah, well, kind of, and more to the point. I think there's a challenge there, essentially, from Oliver, which is that what right did you actually have to do that, to wipe her memory?
So I didn't think that Oliver thought that. But
later
on in the episode, he is called out on it, and we can wait to talk.
Yeah. But I think this is the point at which the cogs start to turn for Clark. That that thing is brought up, and I can't remember the conversation that they have, but for whatever reason, there was a direct link, I think, between, because it's literally the next scene. We don't even get an interim scene. We don't go from there to some other scene and then that propels Clark into. No, it's just like, I can't do it. Here I am, Oliver, to do it. It's like, okay. So you've had some time to think, and now you've done it. So he just.
Clark sees the photographs of Oliver's parents, and he knows he's going to be going after Lex, for vengeance, and that's why he doesn't want Oliver to go out on his own with Lex.
Because he says, doesn't he? Because he says, I can't do it, and then next scene, I've done it. And then Oliver's like, oh, you've done it. And he's like, yes, but I'm keeping the router. I'm not giving it you. Because Clark's reasoning was that, well, I could go to the wedding, but if I go to the wedding, you're going to go and get it anyway. and then that's when stuff will hit the fan, because you'll go in there, all guns blazing, things will go to pot. And
Which
so
he was right about that. Well, it's interesting. All right, I have a nitpick, I know, but I love this episode, but this part really bothers me. Clark comes in with a router, not attached to anything. By the way, routers do not have batteries. They're not like a laptop. The thing is off. And then his tech guy says, oh, we just transferred everything off of there on this machine that's not even on.
And even back in
Wi-Fi.
those days,
That's a fair point.
Like,
that
is
still be a low
not,
level encryption that you'd have to hack as well, you know.
But it's not even on.
It's
not even on.
He says it goes by Wi-Fi, doesn't it? And it's like, so it's just it would have it would have to be like a.
To be on.
Hey, look, there's a lot of stuff within Smallville that we go, yeah, I'll buy it. It's like, so I this is Lex's tech. I'm sure he has a constantly working, needs to stay going all the time rotor, because that's how he's doing his flitting around all over the place.
And it just happens to jump on. So it's battery powered. It happens to jump on their Wi-Fi and no encryption, and that can transfer in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
All the data.
Anyway, I get your point, and I totally agree. But you know, it's fantasy. It's just he had to get it off somehow. And look, hey. They do it in Batman versus Superman with the phone. You know, Bruce Wayne shows up at that fight thing, puts his phone next to the other dude's phone, and kind of steals everything by Wi-Fi. I accept it then, so I'll accept it now.
Except that was on.
Yeah, but you know, we don't know what kind of hard drive it was. We don't know how it was operated. It was some weird ass tech Lex was using to send them.
It's in an alternate universe that doesn't abide by the rules.
Exactly. You know, it's got flying men and rocks that turn people into superpowered freaks. So this is the thing you're getting hung up on, Nicole. This is the thing you're getting hung up on. Okay, so right, I do just want to go back to the whole. What the heck was that? Is that somebody's stomach? I just heard somebody's stomach rumble. Right. Anyway, okay. So we have this nugget of Clark having Chloe's memory wiped, and I gotta say, it doesn't paint Clark in a particularly great light. I don't like it.
They addressed this better in the Lana scene, so I don't know if you want to wait to talk about it there.
They do, but even before we got to the Lana scene, and I feel like it's important to bring it up here, because I was thinking that even before we got to the Lana scene. Mm-hmm. Now, if Durbin were here, we would wait till we got to the Lana scene, and then Durbin would say, well, it's all because of Lana twisting it, and it's just like she's turning him into a villain and stuff. But even before she makes that case, I was already thinking it. I was already thinking, you stepped over the line.
Thinking that wiping his memory is a wedding gift to Chloe.
I know, that's how he phrases it. I'm like, dude, you need some better wedding gifts. Seriously.
So, alright, here's the thing. When the episode happens that he actually does that, the amount of anger that I had was like up to here. I'm like, he doesn't have the right to make that decision for her.
No.
I am, it's wrong. It was wrong for him to do it, but I understand why he did it. He wanted to release the burden of his life, and he wanted her to have a happy marriage.
It's not
outside of him. For him, it was
what you do is you go to
he was giving up that friendship.
You go to the person and you say, look, I can have your memories about my secret wiped, and listen to me, hear me out. This is my case. This is all the ways it will make your life better. and then you put that choice in that person's hands. What you don't do is say, right, I'm wiping that. Oh, I'll get rid of that. Oh, that can go. Yeah, we'll move that.
Ryan,
It's just like,
I agree with you 100%. I think it's almost, it's actually using kind of a harsh word. It's a mind rape.
yeah. I was gonna use it, but
not consensual.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's a violation, yeah.
it is definitely.
And it also really pissed me off.
Yeah. Mercenary
I
X84 makes.
You better get that memory back. That's all I was thinking, because I can't deal with. Because Chloe not knowing his secret takes away too much.
Mercenary X84 makes a really good point. He did the same thing in Superman films with a kiss, and it pissed me off then as well, to be honest. But yeah. Although I believe that was in the Richard Lester cut. Did he do that in the Richard Donner cut? I can't remember. Just remind me, Mercenary,
I think he did.
if he did it in the Richard Donner cut. I can't remember.
But I love that Lana says exactly what we're all thinking, that it was wrong for him to do that, and that she was happy, and that he was said, oh, I could have done the same thing too, and she's like, no, this is where I should be.
Yeah.
You know, it's not your decision.
You don't have the
make,
right to take that away.
Because in a
me.
way, I think that it releases some of the guilt that Clark has, so he doesn't realize that it's actually for his own feelings.
Yeah. Okay. So, where are we? Chloe's memory of Clark shows up at Oliver's jet, sees the newspaper. Yeah. Blah blah blah. That's it. Okay. So Ollie's man. I want to say it would have been nice to see that dude pop up. Some of that because
yo, bro.
for such a tiny little role. The dude showed quite a bit of initiative and had a bit of personality about him, but we never see this guy again, do we?
I don't know.
It's like that. It's like that's one of those examples of someone coming in and doing quite a bit with not a right lot, and turning a little throwaway character into someone that I'd like. Hey, he should pop up some more. He's like Alfred or something.
He's interesting, yeah.
So. Lois goes to see Chloe. Davis calls Chloe, so Chloe has to come clean and tell her kind of what's been going on. But she says that Jimmy is the one that she loves. At which point Clark shows up and gives Chloe the flower that she gave him during freshman year. And this was the bit where I literally wanted to kick Clark in the bollocks. Because he hands her the flower, she gets all gooey-eyed over it, and then his line is, I never throw away good memories. No! You never throw your own good memories away, but you rip them out of your best friend? What the hell?
I never thought of it from that perspective. I thought... I was thinking more of the indestructible flower, but
it was so on the nose, like because I was already brassed off by the fact that I'd just learned. Oh yeah, he got rid of my memories. What a biatch! And then he hands her this flower, this really nice gift, and he's like, I never throw away good memories. It's like, you mother! It's like, what the hell? Come on!
Yeah, but then did you see Lois's face as
thing,
well?
though.
She sort of like went all dreamy-eyed over Clark for like doing such a nice thing.
Well, so did Lois, though.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Lois went.
He made all the girls melt with that line, Brian.
Yeah, but it's just like it's almost that's the kind of sinister line that if it was in the if it was in the mouth of Lex, we'd all be going, oh, you're a nasty piece of work. You're a nasty piece of work. But it's like, oh, he drops it, and all the girls going. It's like, come on, you wiped a memory, and now you're literally rubbing it in by saying, I never throw away good memories.
Well, he doesn't think that memories with her. Once he erased for good memories.
Yeah, but it really rubbed me the wrong way. It really rubbed me the wrong way.
Clark does like has the scrapbooks and saves everything, so it's not like it was out of character for him to do that.
Yeah.
So I would like to know more about how the flowers survived the tornado.
It was pinned in real good. So,
Well, the explosion with my Morgan Edge, when they blew up the truck.
oh man,
Where was it?
good grief. Right, so Oliver hunts down and kills Lex, his mannequin. So he rocks up at this place, having used their battery-powered router to that they're able to hook up with Wi-Fi. He's got there. He's got to the destination. Sees this baldy-looking man and think, yeah, you're in my sights. Puts an arrow in his head. Thankfully, turns out to be a mannequin.
It was a person and it wasn't Lex.
I know. It's just, some big assumptions there, dude. Come on, sloppy work. It's like some underling that's just like getting paid minimum wage to
kidnap somebody and put tape over their mouth and tied them to the chair.
Yeah.
And they just happen to have a bald head.
Yeah. Has he not seen the end of The Dark Knight? It's like it's the doctors. They're dude. Anyway, he gets jumped by who? Lana.
Yeah, that was a shock.
Lana.
Kung Fu fighting Lana.
I didn't know she was going to come back, so I was really shocked when I saw it.
You're talking about the first time you saw it, yeah? Not the 60th time you saw it. I'm assuming you weren't still shocked on the 60th watch. It's like you're there for the 60th time.
I still remember my first watch.
60th time watching it, it's like, oh, it's Lana! It's like, what on earth? It's like, I didn't see that coming. Again.
I'll never understand what Lana... no matter how many times I watch the show, I still can't make sense of the text message she sends in this scene, though. Did he believe you?
It's like they were setting something up there, and they never paid it off.
Yes, they never paid it off.
Beaufray, the guy who trains her.
The guy who trained her, but he doesn't have anything to do with her mission, though, does he? He trains her, and then she goes off and does her own thing.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's vaguely connected to that, but it just doesn't... It doesn't really make a lot of sense why she... It sounded like she was trying to lie to Lex, but then... I mean, not Lex, Oliver, but...
Well, it's there to build intrigue, isn't it? Oh, she's back for a reason. She's up to something, and it's like, okay, but we never find out who you were texting. And we never find out why this person was so invested in your mission.
I definitely think it's that bloke, the one who looks like Rick Flag. It's him.
Is it him or is it the scientist that... What's his name? Dr. Groner?
Groening.
Grohl.
Grohl. Yeah. Dr. Grohl. Maybe she was texting Dr. Grohl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be having this conversation.
Because that's for another time.
It's just... No, we shouldn't be having this conversation because we should know who it is. It's like, if we have to have this conversation, then they've clearly not done a particularly good job in answering that question. Okay, so Lana says that they need to be more like Clark. So we all need to be memory wiping, gaslighters. Yeah, okay. So
Ryan's really stuck on the memory wipe because he forgot that it happened like the episode before. Or episode before?
No, it was at the beginning of the season, wasn't it?
No, she's only.
No, it was just the one before, wasn't it? In Abyss.
Was it?
Yeah, Abyss.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's one before this. Yes, it was just the prior episode. You were supposed to get over it by then.
Yeah. No,
and just say that that Clark showed up to a lot of events that he didn't want to go to because it was emotionally difficult for him in order to do the right thing. That's what his father taught him back with Whitney coming back from the war. Of course, it wasn't Whitney, but
the thing is, if you can do it once, you can do it multiple times, and it's a slippery slope, my friend. Slippery slope.
Oh, with the memory wipe? I don't think that's something that he has the power to do. Otherwise, he would have done it.
That's worse. Otherwise, we'd be wiping memories left, right, and centre.
Later on, I can't memory wipe the people that already know my secret, but I can try to help people, prevent people from finding it out, from ruining their lives. That's the way he thinks about it back in Identity.
Could you imagine if, like, Clark could wipe memories? It's like they'd be just walking zombies round Bellary.
It'd just be like Men in Black.
Or could not have anybody know his secret, I swear.
Yeah, it's going to neuralise your ass. Okay.
That's absolutely what he would do.
He'd have that thing on standby all the time. He'd just have it whipped out. Is that a pen in your pocket, or are you just...
I mean, he goes back in time to stop people from learning his secrets. So, I mean,
Hey, you're playing with people's lives.
He does it not once, he does it twice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the point, though. He didn't learn from his dad. You killed your dad, dude. No, you killed Lana through this whole thing, and then you killed your dad through this whole thing, and you're still doing it. You're still neuralising the crap out of people. It's like, just stop it! Every time you pull that trigger, lives are at stake. Dude! Anyway.
It's all Pete's fault. He couldn't handle it.
It's all Pete. Yeah, Pete's to blame. Douchebag. So Lana says that we all need to be more like Clark, and Oliver says that she should go to the wedding. Get your ass to the wedding. You're supposed to be Chloe's best friend. Move it. And yeah.
Yeah, good thing he didn't tell Lois that he was the reason that Lana.
Yeah, because, next Lois is all, like, feeling bad, and it's like, Oliver, it's your fault she's turned up.
It is Oliver's fault. Lana was not going to show up.
So it's from there that we now begin a romantic interlude between Clark and Lois. Clark and... Pardon?
We have a nice slide for that.
We do. We have a slide for that right here. Okay, so we've got Clark and Lois meeting at the stairs with a few double entendres, it's got to be said. Clark reads Jimmy's vows, getting Lois rather excited because, as usual, she's doing that Smallville thing of looking out at us, the audience, while someone behind them is talking to them. I don't know any other show that does blocking like that with their actors. That's a very Smallville specific thing. In any other show, actors look at characters look at each other and talk at each other. Whereas in Smallville, someone comes up to the camera like this, and then the other person's talking to him around there, and then the person goes, and does a long take of looking into the camera, and you're just like, that's just Smallville. That only happens in Smallville. But it does allow for certain things like this, where we get to see a particular character's emotions while the person talking to them does not. So Clark is reading out Jimmy's vows. I'm not sure what his ideas about privacy are on this. Why did he bring them? Dude, it's just, what is with you this episode? You're just invading people's privacy. It's like you.
And out loud.
Oh man!
He read them out. Like, I can understand reading them in a way. I probably might have done it too. But to read it out loud, that was a whole new step.
And then have a look on Lois's face.
And then when he saw Lois's face, he was like, "Oops."
So, it's just, man alive, invasion of privacy, wiping
they were really
them.
checking each other out. They were falling hard at that time.
Oh, big time.
Oh yeah, both of them.
Big time, yeah. So, yeah.
What are these feelings and what is happening right now?
Yeah. My spider sense is tingling. Okay, so
spider sense, Brian.
we don't need to go there. We don't. We knew what I meant by spider sense. How did you like Lois's dress in this episode? It was very fetching.
Fetching? That's such a British thing to say.
And it also wasn't white as well.
Yes.
Well, it's a good. I mean, she was wearing a bridesmaid dress, so it's not like she got to choose her dress. Actually, Chloe chose their dress for her. I liked it. I mean, I'm not really attracted to women, but it looked like, you know, a nice dress. So
Very fetching, yes.
She looked very hot. Yeah.
I was admiring the tuxes, but you know, that's just especially on one particular character, which, you know, I don't think I need to mention.
Look,
They're
yeah, they're perving all over Clark. I'm perving all over
Chloe.
Well, Chloe, but
that's so funny, Brian. When you said that about that picture, I was like, oh, I never thought of it from that perspective.
That's why I sent you the picture. I'm like, I sent you all those other pictures. I'm like, I'm gonna throw this one in because they're gonna look at it and go, Brian, you perv, and they didn't. I got no response, and you even included it in the thing, and I'm like, come on. She's showing leg.
I sent you one from a different angle. It would even more.
That's
Man
how
alive.
I am.
It's-
The others.
I mean, look at that. Come on. As if. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very biased.
So they give testimonials anyway.
This is
so
why
the
we need a male and a female, you know, because we have very different perspectives.
Indeed. They give their testimonials, the ones we saw at the beginning, so we don't really need to see them again. Then we go to Davis Bloom, cleaning up a job. And by job, I mean a murder. And by murder, I mean a murder that he has committed. And in the process of cleaning it up, a bumbling security guard kind of stumbles on it.
Let's take a step back, because at this point, Davis hasn't consciously murdered someone. This was the Beast murdering those people.
Yeah, but he's still done it.
But he wasn't conscious of it.
No, he's not. No. He's not conscious of the murders, but he knows he's done them.
He knows he did it, but he's not conscious. He didn't make a conscious decision to murder, which he does later on. So I don't.
Is that the case though? Is that the case though? Or is Davis lying? Is he hiding stuff? Because by the time we get to later when he kills Jimmy, he out and out admits that he's always been the monster, and it's just like,
yeah, but way back in Prey, when he is covered in blood and he doesn't know that he murdered those people, but he's suspicious because he had no injuries and because he had the blackout and because he had blood all over him. And he tests the skin cells, and that's when he had to do all that to figure out, and he was very distraught about it, to figure out he was the one that murdered.
I get that back then, but I'm not certain that at this particular point, that he's aware, because
he's starting to become
the security guard comes over, and then he turns into the creature again. So he's almost like,
well, his emotions are driving his turning, which we know is, and I don't think that he's necessarily realized that though at that point. He just feels it happening. Yeah. So he's a little bit more conscious than blacking out, but he's still kind of.
Well, whatever this thing is, I mean, we know it's Doomsday, but whatever this thing is inside him, it has murdered 2 men now at this point, because the security guard gets killed. Yeah, 2 men in this episode.
3 men in this episode.
3 in this?
The security guard's number 3. Well, because he has 2 bags, right? Is that one?
I assumed that was one body that he's just done such a number on that it's he's just like ripped it to pieces, because I'm sure it's like a head in one bag and then
well, there's no bones in it. When he does his thing, he rips out their bones, so that's why they could all fit in one bag.
So he has to put all the mushy stuff goes in one bag, all the bones go in another, and it's
I don't know what happens to the bones. Actually.
No, I'm
not
pretty
really clear
sure
on that. Does he eat them? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Davis knows what he's doing because of the Bloodline episode. You know, where they go back to the Phantom Zone and Fiora turns up.
Yeah.
And sort of like does all that thing to him. No, he knows then that he's bad.
Yeah. The wedding of Chloe Sullivan and Henry James Olsen, not Jimmy Olsen.
Do they say Henry James Olsen in this episode? I don't think so.
No, they don't. We don't find that out until he dies.
Yes.
Till he dies.
Well, the only reason why they did that was because they're like, oh shoot, we killed Jimmy. Well, he wasn't really Jimmy.
It's like, oh shoot, Jimmy Olsen is the same age as Clark and Lois. He needs to be younger because he's younger in the comics. Right, okay, so...
He is actually, because his younger brother's younger than him.
Yes, I mean, he's younger in the comics. Yeah. So they were like, oh crap, he's the same age. We need to youngify him. Yeah, so we're going to kill this dude. He's not Jimmy. And then, although apparently Jimmy Olsen, played by Aaron Ashmore, is appearing in the new animated series.
Really?
Yes. Oh, I found a whole load of stuff out about the new animated series today.
I hope you weren't reading the April Fool's site.
I don't believe I was.
Because there were some April Fool's stuff about it. So
well, the stuff that the stuff that I read, the people who were posting it saying no, it's not an April Fool's. This is legit, and it was on a DC Comics fan thing. But
well, let's focus on Bride.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the animated series.
Yeah. We need to do a show on that animated series. To be honest, once stuff starts.
Well,
really.
I'm excited if it's going to be actually really happening.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening. They've already released artwork from it. Right, okay. So, yeah, Davis cleans up that job, and Chloe dances with Clark. She tells him that she feels like a weight has been lifted and that she can move on. And I put the question, does this absolve Clark? No, it does not. It's just like, and that's what annoys me about that scene. I feel like it's written by the writers to absolve Clark, and it's just like,
well,
obviously they're going to challenge that. They're going to challenge that in a minute with Lana. But I'm as I write these notes, I'm writing them in the order that I'm watching the scenes. So you have to say that this is what I'm thinking before we get to that scene. You can only judge it up until this point in the episode. And at this point in the episode, I'm sat here thinking, bloody writers are trying to absolve Clark of the fact that he's flipping wiped her memory. And it's like, no, you don't get off that easy, buddy.
But actually, I think it's realistic. If she did have those memories wiped, I mean, her life would be more normal and be less stressful.
She's just been planning a wedding. She's just been doing it. That's like one of the most stressful things imaginable, is planning a wedding.
Compared to life and death experiences and finding out about all these crazy supernatural
I would rather do some of that stuff than all that nonsense again, I can tell you.
Really?
There's a reason you only get married once.
Would be better. Almost dying would be better than planning a wedding, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have very good vendors then.
We had great vendors. It's just nobody wants to do that more than once. Come on. It's just like, I don't understand these people who go all in for the wedding day, and it's just like, I want a marriage that comes after. It's just one day, people. Get past it.
Yeah, plus it's not a British tradition to do a rehearsal dinner either.
Although these days it's getting that way, annoyingly. But okay, so
influence on the Britons.
You stupid Americans and your ways,
your traditions,
and your silly traditions that probably
that you guys
originate from Britain. Your silly traditions that probably originate from us British settlers who you come from. So yes, moving on. Okay, Lois and Clark then have a dance, and it starts getting all lovely and well lit and schmoozy and romantic, and they start to lean in for a kiss, and then Lana pops up.
All right, hold on. I have a few comments about the dance.
Go on.
Okay. One is, I think it's one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. And the reason why, I mean, obviously there's many reasons, but one reason in particular is that even though there's not one word of dialogue, there is so much said with their body language and their expressions during that scene. And it's really compelling, and you can see their minds going as they start to get close to this kiss. And they do, I mean, they obviously commit to it, because if you pull up that screen, there's no way you could get closer to kissing someone without actually kissing them. So obviously they both knew that despite them not actually locking lips, the intent was there. Now the other thing I'll say is that...
Do we not have that?
Yeah, that third one.
Yeah, just that. Yeah. Once your noses pass each other, that's
the point of no return.
Yeah, that's the point of no return. If you interrupt that's like interrupting mid-coitus, as Sheldon would say. As the noses have passed tips. The noses have passed tips. That's it. There's no going back from now.
Now I will say that Smallville. This is not the first time that Smallville has done the almost kiss. They did it back with Lana way back in season 1 too. And at first, I was obviously I was rooting for them to kiss the entire time. They really got the audience in it, bought into close at this moment. Really wanted this to happen, and the exact reaction that you're supposed to have is the reaction that we all had when Lana, most people had, I'm sure, when Lana appears and it's broken apart. And when that that's what the reaction that you are supposed, that was intended reaction. Now, the reason it took me time to come to really appreciate that reason why they did that. Because there is nothing better than teasing your audience so much that they're dripping with angst and wanting it, ripping it away from you, and then watching it build over many, many more episodes again.
No. See,
more invested.
Right, this is the revelation I had yesterday watching this episode, because there is something that happens here that is fantastic. If they'd have had the balls to commit to something, all right. So, Lana, right, stick a pin in that. Just stick a pin in that, because that comes after this next scene, okay? I'm going to get back to that. We'll talk about this next scene first, because first we go to Lois drowning her sorrows, and Oliver shows up, and this is actually this was the most emotional scene for me in the episode, mostly because of Oliver and the way that he plays it, and I just like, they have good chemistry, both actors, Lois and Oliver in this scene, and I just love the fact that he recognizes that. Well, she says that it's awkward because having this conversation with anybody, but like the fact that you're that you're an ex makes it even more so. and this is the moment where Oliver literally kind of lets that go and says, "Well, seriously, let's just be friends." But it's the way he delivers it that actually got me kind of. It got me here. I was just like, "Oh, Oliver, he's just what a guy." And then
reneges on that in other seasons.
They do.
But we're not talking about that though. So, so he offers to just be a really good friend, and then she admits that it snuck up on her, meaning her love for Clark. And this was the bit that I really loved, where Oliver's like, he's talking about this person, and then she says, "How do you know?" And then he says, "'Cause I know Clark." And it was both funny, like really funny, but also really touching at the same time, because it shows how well these people know each other, and it also shows the impact that Clark has had within all of their lives. And no matter what kind of angst Oliver may have towards Clark at times for not going his way and that, he recognises that actually Clark's way is the better way, and that he knows the goodness in Clark, and and secretly he wishes he had it. He knows he doesn't, but he wishes he did.
For him. It's actually not that Clark is more powerful than him that bothers him, but it's the fact that he can't seem to live up to his moral nature that he struggles with the most when he's with Clark. But I love the fact that he recognized that all the other characters recognize what's going on with Lois and Clark. The other thing is, there's a really good line in this scene where she says, "I just thought that he needed me."
Yeah.
And what's really interesting about this line is that later on, Clark actually says, "You were always the one that I needed," and it was just such a nice tie-in to this scene that we have later with Lois and Clark, and that she was right when she picked up on the fact that he was feeling. I think part of it, and it's something that people don't talk about a lot, but part of why he was having so many feelings towards Lois, and why it was really coming out of him in this particular episode, was because he felt like he lost something with Chloe, and he's feeling he lost something really important. And I know that we've talked about it from Chloe's perspective, but from Clark's perspective, for him it was a big sacrifice because he was so close to Chloe, and now he feels like there isn't, he has Oliver that he can talk to, but he doesn't quite have that intimate relationship like he does with Chloe. And now he lost Lana, so he feels like he's got no one left. That he's alone. He's feeling very lonely and vulnerable in this episode because of the mind wipe he did with Chloe, and he's losing Chloe, right? Because Chloe's going to go off and going to have this marriage, he's thinking, and they'll be, friend, you hang out with every once in a while, but that closeness that they had is gone. That everyday talk is gone. There's this huge change coming. He's very, very vulnerable. So when Lois says that he needed me, it was absolutely true. Is that he was feeling this vulnerability, and that's why he kind of latches on to Lois in this episode. And that's why it's believable to me that he wasn't ready to fully invest in the Lois relationship yet, because he recognized, that he wasn't quite there yet. He was vulnerable, and that's why he was, led to this intimate place with her. But he really wasn't. He wasn't in love with Lois yet. He was having some feelings working out, and he was a little bit nervous about it. And I think the other thing is that he's apprehensive of it going bad, like it went bad with Lana.
Right. I'm going to take my pin out now that I put in, because I'm going to rewrite Smallville from this point on, because this is what should have happened, in my personal opinion. And it's not because I hate Lana, because actually certainly over season 5, 6 and 7, I've become more of a fan of Lana than I was in previous seasons. But I just think this was the perfect time to go, because she comes in, they have a talk, Clark and Lana, and this is when Clark drops the bombshell about to her that his wedding gift was getting rid of Chloe's memories, and that I should have done the same with you, really. And that's when Lana says, essentially, but not in this many words, "Screw you, no way. Look, there was pain in those memories, but I wouldn't change it. And I've been through some stuff, but it's made me who I am." And then she drops this nugget, which is that maybe we simply weren't meant to be together, right? We weren't meant to be together. in that moment, no, I don't care whatever comes after this episode. I'm talking about if those episodes didn't exist, we're just going off this episode and how I would rewrite it. Based on this episode, she's come to a place where she's almost accepted that they weren't meant to be. That doesn't mean they don't love each other, but they're not meant to be, right? And we, as you know, if we're Superman fans who know the lore of comics and things, we obviously know that actually Clark is meant to be with Lois. We've had that conversation many times before. This is the point where Lana says, we're not meant to be. Now, that doesn't mean that Clark is over that. It doesn't mean that he's ready to quite move on yet. But at that point, I feel that Lana has. And she's accepted we're just not meant to be. And that is when Doomsday should come in. He should injure Jimmy the way that he does, but he should also kill Lana. Lana should have been killed. No, like I'm not saying that to be funny. Lana should die because it means Clark is then having to be forced to deal with that before.
He's not really forced to deal with it, though. I mean, that'd be almost the same complaint that people have with how it actually ended, which we don't have to go into that. But that Clark never made the choice, right? And that Clark never.
Yeah, but she did. She did. Yeah, but this is the point. It's like she's saying, look, we ain't meant to be together. And there's this thing. There's like this noose around his neck. This possibly. What if there's a chance? What if there's a chance? But if she's saying, look, yeah, it ain't happening. We are not meant to be together. That can't.
And then she dies. Who would be?
Yeah, but that's the point. You deal with that. You deal with that. You deal with that. That's no. The whole point of that. The whole point of that is that rather than having the next 4 episodes of this annoying Lana arc, which annoyed people, instead she goes out in a way that has, to me, more value because she's put a stake. She put a stake in the ground, and then we have a 4-episode arc of Clark dealing with that, rather than having this 4 episodes of nonsense with Lana, and then him essentially, all right, then I'll go off with Lois instead.
If you're gonna kill Lana, you have to kill her off being a hero. I mean, that's what you do with main characters. So you don't just have Doomsday going and kill her. She would have to be protecting somebody.
It needs to be tragic. It needs to be tragic.
It needs to be a tragic hero. You can't have a character like that go out without doing something heroic in order to sacrifice.
Well, fine.
herself.
She saves Jimmy then. Like, the reason Jimmy doesn't get killed is because she throws herself in the way, so he just gets slightly maimed, and she's the one who takes the brunt and is killed. And the whole time, Clark is forced to watch it. Clark is forced to listen when let me finish. Clark is forced to watch it because he's up on that balcony with the kryptonite, and there's bugger all he can do about it. And he's forced to watch the love of his life die, knowing that she said, look, it ain't going to happen. Deal with it.
And then is Clark ever going to have another relationship again after watching her die?
Yes, because Lois is the true love of his life, who makes him realise that actually... Yeah, but that would be the arc, wouldn't it? That would be started in the episodes. That's the direction you take it. I mean, instead of taking it in the direction of some stupid supersuit that forces Clark to not be able to be with a woman he loves, which means she's still out there, which means he still loves her, which means she's still a flipping flight risk if she happens to get rid of that damn suit.
No, I think he got over her because he didn't go running after her in her suit. So I'll just say that. But
he couldn't go running after her in a damn suit.
Because... very much, but they pretty much solved that issue in season 10. That he was no longer focused on Lana. Now, interesting from my personal perspective, watching this scene, I am a rare case apparently that I am both emotionally invested in both Lana and Lois. So I was very invested in the Lois kiss. I was shocked when Lana showed up. And then that scene, I thought that I was over Lana, Clark and Lana. I thought I was over it. Then they'd have this
so over it.
I had this scene, all right? And I felt exactly how Clark probably felt in this scene. I just immediately, like, all the feelings just came rushing back, and I'm like, damn it. I can't help it. And I was so torn at that point. It's like part of me really wanted them, and then part of me, and oh my God. I felt like Clark. I really did. I felt him. And I was like, I get it. And I get it too, because I was in love with someone before. When you see them again, the feelings just come rushing back. Even though you know that, especially how she left him. She left him a video. The guy didn't even get to say goodbye. All right? After being at her bedside for hours and hours and hours, she disappears and leaves him a breakup video and says, bye-bye, never going to see you again. So it's incredibly, I understand why he stopped the kiss. Like, that would be shocking. Whoa, Lana's here. And talk about ripping my heart out. And then her saying we weren't meant to be. That's like stomping on it. He was really hurting, but he was trying to be strong. And then he knew what was going on with him and Lois. And he had like that additional guilt of like, I don't, but it's Lana, like I don't know what to do.
Get over it.
They did not run back together in the next episode.
8 seasons. If you're not with each other by now, you never will be. Get over it. Move on.
Because of his secret that was preventing them from getting together. For 6 seasons, it was only because of his secret.
This is where she should have died. That's all I'm saying. As far as I'm concerned,
I think that what people wanted was for Clark to choose to walk away from Lana.
But he didn't. He had that choice made for him.
Would you rather have her die than have him walk away from her?
Yes. I would rather have that choice. Either way, he's having the choice taken from him. I would rather have it taken from him this way, where it ends with her flat out saying, we ain't meant to be together, rather than having what we get next in the next few episodes. Rather than having what we get in the next few episodes, where it holds out that little nugget that, perhaps you still could be together, where actually the only thing stopping them from being together is that damn suit. Whereas if she'd have died at this point, yeah, okay, he's still got to deal with that love that he had. But people die, and then you have to move on.
There's 2 things that he had to deal with, though. It wasn't just that he had to deal with the love that he had, but it was the guilt of him, again, which we see in this episode, feeling like he ruined her life, or that, he wasn't destined to be with anybody. Because, even a superpower person couldn't be with her. And
the feeling of ruining her life, ruining her life gets dealt with in this conversation when she says, I wouldn't have my memories wiped. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's made me who I am. I am actually standing here right now, a strong, independent woman who's gone off, figured things out, figured we ain't meant to be together, but I don't care because I've got all this stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah, but
and it's like,
Lex have something to do with it, where the person she was as well.
But it's not the point.
Really
the point is,
I don't think so. I think that
I don't give a toss what he believes right now. She said it. He's got to come to terms with it. It's just
wrong. I agree with her, but I'm saying that Clark doesn't. And
I think Lana would have been so much better off in
anyone
Paris.
else to struggle by him. So.
You're just stuck in a stalemate because it's like there's no. It's just like there's no way to go beyond that because we know what we get. We know the story that comes after this in the next few episodes. And I'm sorry, but killing her off after what she says here is much more definitive and much more kind of sets out her stall and leaves things in a way that is on her terms than it does given the next few episodes.
Yeah, I don't think that's how they wanted to end her. They wanted to end her as a hero, and that's where that. But especially Kristen, I think, really wanted that. And there's also 4 more episodes in her contract. And
blame it on the writers.
I do. Don't you worry, I do.
But there was something interesting said in her line notes. She said, I don't think that we were meant to be together. And she says later it's because she felt like, which we saw in this episode, when Doomsday comes in, and what happened? Who's the first one to get injured? Lana.
She should have died.
And what happens after she gets injured?
Clark
She survives.
To her. There's someone coming in, destroying and going after all these people. What does Clark do? He goes after Lana.
That so annoys me.
And the thing is, he doesn't just go after her. He actually pauses and he waits this precious seconds. And she has to tell him, go. And that is why Lana decided that she could not be with Clark unless she had a suit.
I think
Because-
Clark.
I think you're reading far too much into one little moment there. I think no. It's just the thing is, it's like if you're the writers in the writers' room, then I'm not saying this episode plays out exactly as it is right now, and then boom, you kill her. What I'm saying is, knowing that you're going to kill her in this moment, you have her make her speech, you make it more definitive, you have her have a heroic moment when Doomsday comes in, she dies, and then you have a few episode arc of Clark having to deal with that.
I really like that. That was something that really bothered me about the actually, I've more complained about the transition after Requiem to Infamous, because we don't get to see him grieving what just happened, which just makes you, like, they talk about it a little bit, but they don't really show the grief. And that bothers me because I feel like that loses weight into what just happened. And it doesn't feel right. But they do that a lot in Smallville, where they kill off a character and then
Yeah,
people
because
just...
never did it with Alicia either.
Like, we forgot that, like, we kill off Alicia, and then the next episode, it's like it didn't even happen,
Yeah. And then she never gets mentioned again.
She
She does, but it's just like, yeah. Okay, so they've had the little chat in which I think she should get killed, and then this happens.
Oh, brutal, Jimmy.
I've never been a Jimmy fan, so I didn't know really that much when Jimmy got... I'm sorry to all the Jimmy fans out there.
I was like,
I'm just like, even in this episode, you have Davis calling Chloe, and Chloe be like, no, I'm all in for Jimmy. I want to marry Jimmy. I'm like, yeah, we can all see where you really are feeling a pull and connect. And I don't feel that with her and Jimmy. It's like, oh, Jimmy's always there, and he's always been nice to me, and he's always been great. Like that kind of feeling with him.
there's no real chemistry there, is there? Like, if you get Chloe and Jimmy passing nose tips, you're just like, it's just like there's nothing. Like when you get Lois and Clark passing nose tips, steam is literally coming off everything in the room. Whereas when it's Jimmy and Chloe, I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm gonna go and make a brew. I think it's just like, it's just there's nothing.
When they broke up, I was like, oh, that's so sad. Then they get back together. Oh, they're back together. Like, that's pretty much how I feel about Chloe. Like, to me, it's obvious when Lois says during their engagement party that you're just marrying the first guy that actually gave you attention. That's how I feel Chloe and Jimmy are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Jimmy does love Chloe more than Chloe ever, and that's why he was so insecure, because he felt it
big
too.
time. Yeah. Okay, it's like when he dies at the end of the season, it's almost like Chloe's like, whew, relief from that burden. It's like, hey, just put on a
guilty because they
put on a sad face. Yeah. But okay, so Doomsday takes Chloe. Clark visits Lana in the hospital, like many times before. Although, why she's in the hospital? Because she's walking about pretty fine once.
She actually had blood pouring out of her leg when she
needed stitches
when she went up the
okay.
stairs to the loft.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't a serious injury, but it was enough where she needed stitches.
Okay.
Well, I think Clark did actually sort of like punch something out of the way to get to her. You know.
Pretty sure Clark's launched people across rooms before, and they've never been rushed to hospital. You know, it's like.
Brain damage.
But yeah, so.
And they knocked out, and then they're fine. And, yeah.
Lois asks why these terrible things keep happening to us, and then walks away in slow-mo.
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
To sad music playing and a montage.
Yeah. Turns up later.
Well, first of all, Lois sees Clark and Lana together in the hospital, so her insecurities with Clark and Lana, well-founded. Yeah. She's like, I want nothing to do with these two. Like, I do not want to put myself. And that's why I think she's like, I'll just go take care of Jimmy. Because somebody needs to take care of Jimmy. And I don't really want to be around that. Like, you two work that out. This is too difficult for me emotionally to deal with.
How many episodes of Smallville? How many episodes of Smallville end with some emo music kicking in, and then slow-mo montage, cue montage?
That,
you see, it becomes a thing though that's like, oh, here we go, the episode's coming to a close. I know, because the music's kicking in and we've gone into slow-mo.
Well, this song has actually been used in Smallville before. It was in the episode with the Chloe exchange, you know, over Oliver.
All right, okay.
Is it
U2 or Bono or someone? Because it sounds very U2-esque. But if not, it's a band that's clearly kind of riffing on U2, I think. But yeah, we close out the episode with Doomsday taking Chloe to the fortress and Lex watching the nicely edited highlights wedding video. Bravo, wedding videographer, would not be hiring you. So yeah, sum ups. Nicole.
Don't Take Your Love Away From Me by Vast.
Okay, never heard of them. Never heard of it, and never heard of them.
But it's a great song.
It was all right. Yeah, as far as U2 rip-off bands go, it sounded all right. Yeah.
It was I love Bride. The emotion is there at every beat. It's got good action. It's just hits everything. Boy, did it hit me in the feels multiple times.
Mark out 5. Go.
5.
Yeah, I figured. Lisa?
It's in the top 20 for me, actually, of 270.
Okay.
4.5.
Right. 5.5.
4.5.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
you didn't say it was over 5.
No, I thought Lisa said 5.5. I was going to say no. We don't do 5.5, my love. I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen. Yeah, I'm torn on this big time because as someone who likes to read film and judge it from an objective standpoint as much as a subjective standpoint. There's a lot about this where I'm like, I wouldn't have done that, and I'd do this differently, and a lot of stuff that's in this that annoys me because I know what's coming.
You gotta judge on its own, Brian.
Exactly. Well, no, I'm getting there, Nicole. Let me get there. That's it. And that's what I'm saying. Is that, like, on a subjective level, purely as a Smallville fan, and not someone who's like, I'm judging these very objectively, and it's got this fault and that fault, and once you get, the other episodes that come, it makes this seem a little bit meh. But purely on its own terms, like when you're watching this within the context of the show, you don't know what's coming next, and you just see this episode. It drops a load of bombshells. There's some nice real good emotional moments from some places that I don't expect it to come, a la Oliver and Lois. And like, just as a Smallville fan, I would say this episode is a 5. If I was judging it objectively and taking into account what comes next, I would probably lower it to a 4. But I just, as you say, it is unfair to judge. It's like judging, you know, Batman Begins based on The Dark Knight Rises, or The Godfather based on The Godfather Part 3. It's like, you know, it's on its own terms, in the context of the show, this is a 5-star episode. It's really well handled, and
it's Superman 4 on the Superman 2.
Yeah, it feels like it's over like that. It's one of those episodes where, because so many big things are happening, it's over like that. You don't feel like it's not been a slog to watch at all. So 5 out of 5 from me, despite some of the faults that I had.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people end up judging this episode based on what comes after. And
have we got any
it's in that because Lana is in it. It makes it a bad episode.
Yeah.
Lana is nothing but good in this episode anyway. I mean, yeah, she interrupts the Lois and that pisses people off, but you're supposed to be pissed off.
No, I do fully acknowledge. I will say that actually in this episode, yes, it annoys me that like we have this interruption between, you know, Lois and Clark because of Lana. But that's what it's meant to do. Like you said, it's all about, you know, oh, they're getting there, and then something comes in and pulls them down. But the scenes we get with Lana, the things she says make sense, and the things she says they actually give me more respect for her, rather than making me think, oh, just go already.
Well, yeah, she seems like a very mature character. She didn't come she wasn't even trying to come into the spotlight between Lois and Clark. Chloe's the one that called her out. She was in the darkness. She was, kind of just hiding back. So there are some people's theories that they think that Chloe saw what was going on between Lois and Clark, and because she saw Lana walk in, she wanted to interrupt them before something happened.
So Rochelle Rego says,
what is wrong, Rochelle?
Skip Requiem and the entire 4-episode arc. I agree, it's the worst.
What's wrong
episode.
with Legion?
I love
And
Bulletproof as well.
I mean, what's wrong with Legion and Bulletproof?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I
think that people's complaints are really only the 2 episodes.
It literally is just because Lana's in. No, I don't like the training episode when, you know, when they have the flashbacks to what Lana's been doing.
Bulletproof.
Yeah. I don't like the
one before Requiem and after Bulletproof. That one I understand why people don't like, because it's very long and heavy episode.
And I don't. And the thing is, I'm torn on the whole Lana suit one where she finally leaves.
That's
because
Requiem. So those 2 episodes I get, but why do people?
But even Requiem, no, like Bride's great, Legion's great, and even Requiem that still has Toy Man in it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So all the stuff with Toy Man in that I really like, because I like Smallville's version of that character. I think they do a really good job of it. But anyway, we're not talking about them. So we've said our piece on Bride. Bride is a 5 out of 5 from me and Nicole, and Lisa gave it a 4.5. I think objectively, I would probably be the lowest of the group. If I was trying to be objective, I'd be like, 4. But as a Smallville fan, remembering how I felt when I first saw this episode, not knowing what was coming, it's a 5. So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say I think people are way too harsh on Legion and Bulletproof, because honestly, there's nothing that happens between Clark and Lana before the last scene of Bulletproof, and then Power. Obviously, I understand why people don't like that one. Totally get it. It's not a great episode, but you know, that's all about Lana. Requiem, I understand why people are split on that, but stop harping on Bride, Legion, and Bulletproof just because Lana exists in it. Seriously.
No, Legion's a great episode. It's one of my favorites of the season. So right, okay, we've been prattling on for an hour and 24 minutes, so we're going to leave it there. Goodness knows how long we'd have been going if Durban had been with us. So yeah, at that, we will love you and leave you all. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the comments. Always a pleasure to have you with us. And we will see you next time. No idea when that will be.
Hit like and subscribe so that you know when we go live. If you
hit like, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we're coming on. Share this episode. You know, if you're a part of any Smallville fan groups, take this link at the top. Go and share it in those groups so that it doesn't look like we're just doing it to try and promote ourselves. We need you guys to promote us. So yeah, share it, like it, love it. Thank you, and we shall see you next time. Bye.